The Thillaisthanam Foundation is a not-for-profit organization that was founded in honor of Sri Thillaisthanam Rama Iyengar, who was the closest disciple of the great Carnatic music composer Sri Sadguru Tyagaraja. The foundation aims to bring concert-quality Carnatic music to a diverse audience, ranging from newcomers to connoisseurs, to collectively experience the joy of music. Through chamber concerts, lecture demonstrations, and informal interactive sessions between artists and the audience, the foundation also hopes to bring the artists and the art form closer to the listeners. If you would like to get involved or host a concert, please reach the foundation at the email address thillaisthanamfoundation@gmail.com. To begin this auspicious evening, we would like to invoke the blessings of the Almighty with the traditional lighting of the lamp. I request Registrar Sir and Professor Prabhu and all the artists to come to the stage.
कुछ बात नहीं करेंगे हमारा आ रहा है
Thank you very much everyone. This evening we are hosting the following esteemed artists. Shri Nishanth Chandran on the violin. Violinist, computer scientist and teacher Dr. Nishanth Chandran has been performing Carnatic music violin for 3 decades. A senior disciple of the legendary Sangeeta Kalanidhi A. Kanyakumari Padma Bhushan P.S. Narayana Swami, he belongs to the musical lineage of Thillaisthanam Rama Iyengar. He has shared the stage with some of the finest artists in the field, such as saxophone Kadri Gopalnath, T.V. Sankara Narayanan, T.V. Gopalan Krishnan, Malari Brothers, T.M. Krishna, Flute Shashank, Naveli, Santanan Gopalan and many more. He also had the rare honor of performing as part of the legendary sitar maestro Pandit Ravi Shankar's music at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles in 2009. Dr. Nishanth is a national award winner and an A-grade artist of All India Radio. He has received several accolades for his performance, including the prestigious Best Violinist and Best Concert for his performance. Awards from Madras Music Academy on multiple occasions. The great music critic Subru once remarked about Nishanth, the knowledge of Guruprasanna technique he revealed was hard to describe. His bowing is perfect with not a single harsh phrasing. Nishanth is the founder of Thillaisthanam Foundation, a non-profit organization that aims to promote Carnatic music through intimate musical events and workshops. Dr. Nishanth holds a PhD in computer science from UCLA for his award-winning research on cryptography and is currently a principal researcher with Microsoft Research in Bangalore. Now I'll invite Professor T.K. Shrikant to present a bouquet to Dr. Nishanth.
Shri B.C. Manjunath on the Mridangam. Competent and dynamic artists with outstanding credentials, Shri Manjunath is a recipient of several acclaimed awards. He has a noteworthy track record of performances at prestigious platforms in India and overseas with world-renowned artists of different genres. A sensitive musician, well-versed with Indian classical, world music, modern jazz, contemporary dance, contemporary classical music, in diffusion and many more styles, Shri Manjunath is also a composer, innovator and discoverer of many unique rhythmic cycles such as the Fibonacci Tala, triangular numbers Tala, Guru Kripa Tala and many talas of his own which he has to give names yet. He has won several awards and recognitions such as the Ustad Bismillah Khan Yuva Puraskara, the highest recognition of youth in India, given by the Central Sangeet Natak Academy. Gana Kala Shri Award from Karnataka Gana Kala Parishad. Swaralaya Bharati Award by Malleshwaram Sangeeta Sabha. Asthana Vidwan from His Holiness Shri Kanchi Kamakoti Pitadipati Jagadguru Shri Shankaracharya Swamigal Srimatam Samsthana in 2012, and is an A-grade artist at the All India Radio and Doordarshan. He comes from a rich musical lineage and is the son of Sangeeta Vidyanidhi, Dr. B.K. Chandramouli, a veteran Mridanga artist, and has learnt from gurus Ganakala Bhushana K.N. Krishnamurthy and Padma Shri Sangeeta Kalanidhi Dr. T.K. Murthy. I would like to call upon Professor Amit Prakash to hand over a bouquet.
Shri Guruprasanna ji on the Kanjira. Vidwan Shri Ji Guruprasanna is a highly accomplished and most sought after Kanjira artist of India. He hails from the rich tradition and the unparalleled school of Kanjira legend Vidwan late G. Harishankar. He has been trained under the tutelage of Vidwan R. Satyakumar, Vidwan Anur R. Anant Krishna Sharma, and Vidwan C.P. Vyasa Vittala, an A-graded artist of All India Radio and Doordarshan. Guruprasanna has been a multi-genre artist for several years and has performed with many renowned musicians across the globe. He has been recognized with many prestigious awards and titles such as Asthana Vidwan of Kanchi Kamakoti Pitam, Ustad Bismillah Khan Puraskar from Sangeet Natak Academy, Gankala Shri, and many more. Guruprasanna is truly multifaceted, as he is a dual professional, working as Director of Engineering at a very reputed MNC and also the co-founder of Samatva Foundation. Now I'll call Registrar Sir on the stage to present a bouquet to Sri Guruprasanna ji.
Srimati Bhagyalakshmi M. Krishna on the Morsing. Srimati Bhagyalakshmi is the daughter and disciple of Morsing Emperor Ganakala Bhushana Vidwan Dr. L. Bhimachar, an A-grade artist of All India Radio and Doordarshan Bangalore. She has given innumerable concerts in all leading sabhas. She has widely performed all over the country and abroad, accompanying eminent artists like Dr. M. Balamurali Krishna, Vidushi Neela Ram Gopal, Vidushi Dr. T. S. Satyavati, Vidushi Nagamani Srinath, and many more. She has performed percussion ensemble of. She has performed along with her father and brother Rajshekhar in Morsing Tarang, a unique percussion ensemble of Morsing, and performed along with their brother Mridangam Vidwan B. Dhruvaraj at the 5th International Jews Harp Festival held at Amsterdam in the year 2006. She is also a member of Stri Tal Tarang, directed by Ghatam Vidushi Srimati Sukanya Ram Gopal. Srimati Bhagyalakshmi has received the Ananya Yuva Puraskar Award in 2014, Senior Best Upapakavadyam Award from the prestigious Music Academy Madras twice in the year 2017 and 2019. Nada Jyoti Puraskara in 2019, Indra Shivaselam Special Award at Music Academy in 2019, Uma Memorial Award from Kartik Fine Arts Chennai in 2019, Ragalaya Prabha Award in 2022, and Shri Purandara Vittala Prashasti Award in January of 2023. She is presently taking advanced coaching from Ghatam Maestro Sukanya Ram Gopal, Mridangam Guru H.S. Sudhindra, and Morsing Chakravarti B. Rajshekhar. I would like to call upon Professor Raghavan to give a bouquet. This concert stands apart from any you might have experienced before, offering an interactive dimension. If you have ever felt clueless about what's going on the stage, you won't feel like that today, because the artists will explain what they are playing along the way, getting you familiar with the nuances of Carnatic music. A note to the audience, please keep your phones on silent mode. Now put on your hands together for today's amazing artists. We shall pass on.
Namaskarams to one and all. We are delighted to present this event to you. That was Vatapi Ganapatam in the Ragam Hamsadwani set to Aditalam by the great Carnatic composer Sri Muthuswami Dikshidhar. I played a short Raga Alapana at the beginning, followed by the composition where everybody joined, and then we played Kalpanaswaram at the end. And all of these terms might, if you have never attended a Carnatic music concert before, this might sound like what just hit me, right? And in my experience, I've come across a lot of music lovers who really enjoy music, but they find that there's so much going on. I wish I could appreciate Indian music, our culture better. Is there some way where we could appreciate the music better? And so with that, got together with three of my amazing co-artists and friends, and over the next 1.5 hours or so, we want to share the joy of Carnatic music with you all. And hopefully our session will be more interactive. We have planned a few things that we'd love to share with you, but there may be many things that you would like to know about. Before we get into some of the aspects and nuances of Carnatic music, some of you may even ask, and it's a very valid question, why Carnatic music? Why should we listen to this art form? I'm already happy with various kinds of music I'm listening to. Maybe there is no need to listen to another art form. And we were discussing amongst ourselves also. It's a very valid question. Right? And I'll share my personal opinion, and I'll invite Guruprasanna ji and BC Manjunath ji and Bhagyalakshmi ji to say what is in their mind as well. But in my opinion, I think there are several reasons why we should connect with Carnatic and Indian music. It is, and first of all, I think it's an amazing historical art form. And as Indians, no matter, a lot of you are students, you may go to different parts of the world tomorrow. No matter where we go, I think having a connect with our music, our culture, I think it really has a good feel about it, at least later on in life. I think Carnatic music it's got many aspects and many facets to it. Right? There is bhakti in it, there is devotion, there is a lot of melody, soothing music. There is a lot of improvisation that happens. There is a lot of mathematics, a lot of mathematical patterns. A lot of you are students of technology over here. There's a lot of mathematical patterns, and we will see some of that as well today. And I think the beautiful part of Carnatic music is that we can take whatever we wish to take away from it. We are not restricted. Some of you may be interested in the laya or the rhythmic aspects. Some others may like the melody, and you can take that. And because it has so many aspects, it's just a beautiful art form where one can take whatever they want from it. Manju, now, what are your thoughts? Like, why should someone, and how did you get drawn into Carnatic music, and what do you take away from this art form?
Well, I still don't know why they have to listen to our music. I'm still pondering on that part. Yeah, it looked exciting, right? It looked kind of like a conversation between four people, right? So, Carnatic music is like, let us say, for anything in the world that you need to have an acquired taste, right? So there are so many things like you would instantly get liking it, right? But there are some things like, for example, there is a cheese called Gouda in Netherlands. It's really one of the most pungent cheeses that I have had in my life. But once I started eating it for some time, I started liking it, So it's like also these trailers that they show on the television before the movie releases, right? So we don't have, instantly we don't like it. But what happens, playing it repeatedly and then you looking at it so many times, somehow you are getting interested towards it. And then you want to go and watch that movie or the song, or like, even the song that they only play a little bit of it so that you get only hooked to the hook part of the song. The same way, what we did right now was, we just showed you the hooked part of the Carnatic music. Because this is one of the most, I would say, overused, overplayed Carnatic music songs that you just heard, right? So this was our intention, not to like try to show something really tough or something that you don't connect to at all, because once it gets once it starts getting deeper, it goes to more abstractness. I'm sure there are a lot of people here who like abstract things over here, but still music abstraction is a little bit more abstract. Right? So, when it comes to why I am doing Carnatic music, I'm born into a music family of Carnatic musicians, so there was nothing else that I was allowed to do. So it's kind of, something that I was forced to do, I would say, until I was about 10 or 11. I was so forced to do it. At 12, I started getting aversion towards it. But there came a moment where I found Carnatic music through some musicians who were totally funky, right? If there is something like, for example, Guru was talking about a quote that was quoted by one of the great Mridangam artists. This is the Mridangam instrument. We will talk about our instruments later. So, first thing for anyone to get latched to, especially when it comes to music, is you have to tap your foot, right? So once you start tapping your foot, it goes all the way upwards, and then it reaches your heart and mind. So the more deeper you go with the music, the more elevated it becomes in your body part. This is what I feel, you know. So the connection, I would say, if you can explain how you connect to a music, it's less interesting. When it becomes less explicable, or you cannot explain what you're experiencing, then that becomes really something that you're liking, but you can't explain. So this was the reason that it brought me back to Carnatic music, and I felt Carnatic music was more funky during my teenage years. What do you think, Guru?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Manju. I think I'll just take a moment from what Manju was talking. By the way, me and Manju are friends for more than musical friends and performing friends for more than 36 years now. so we have that acquaintance, and we kind of...
To call each other as Manju and Guru.
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things, I think, to answer that question, why one should listen to Carnatic music. There are hundreds of other forms of music, and this is one thing which the legendary Mridangam artist, Guru Karaikudi Mani sir, he mentioned this in one of his interviews. In the world, there are many forms of music, but mostly, the Indian classical music is the one which makes your head shake and not the foot. So that means you are already elevated to that level where your head is responding to the music. It's basically a response, right? So there is some action, there is some event happening, and to that there is a response. So people with technology, it's like a client-server communication. There is a communication which is happening, and you respond to that, and the response comes from the head for the Indian classical music. And that touched my heart like so deep, and basically because we work so hard in our lives with our brain, and what really relaxes the brain is not the foot tapping music, but the one which actually soothes your mind and makes your head shake. So that is Indian classical music. Probably that is one of the reasons why we should probably listen to Indian classical music. And with the heritage and the culture, the richness we have in India, maybe that is why Indian classical music is really rich in terms of how it can produce, and the manodharma aspects, or the improvisations which it can bring in. And probably that is what brings in the Indian culture and makes it very, very special for the entire world.
Bhagyaka, any thoughts to that? Or
Continuing from what, to tell frankly, myself and Manju, I think we started playing when we were child artists. Do you remember, Manju? I think we played in All India Radio as children artists.
I think we still feel like children.
This is the child in you talking. Not
as they all said, we started we were forced to do Indian classical music, in the sense like we are from musical family. So the music was always at home. My mother used to sing. My father, he also initially started with vocal, then shifted to Mridangam, then to Ghatam, then finally he took up Morsing. My elder brother is a Mridangist, Vidwan B. Dhruvraj. Then my second brother is B. Rajashekar, who is the topmost artist of our nation at present. B. Rajashekar, Bangalore Rajashekar. So the music was in our family. So I was just listening to them, and somehow like that automatically it came. To tell frankly, my father never thought of teaching me music, in the sense, especially this Morsing. I feel it is all the blessings of the Almighty, whatever happened in my life. Then coming to music, according to me, music is something divine. Especially when you think about the lyrics part of our Carnatic classical music, it is so much connected to the Almighty, and those the compositions, whatever they have done, it's all what they experienced in their life, the same, or the situations what they faced in their life, the same thing they made it to, they made the compositions. For example, if you think of Purandaradasaru, who is the father of our Carnatic classical music, he is called as the ಆಗರ್ಭ ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ. ಅವ್ರು ಅಷ್ಟು ಶ್ರೀಮಂತರಾಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. I think you understood what I said. Sorry?
He was born with golden spoon in his mouth.
ಪುರಂದರದಾಸರು. ಸೊ ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕನ್ನಡ ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಧ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ?
You can say it and then say it in English. Say it in Kannada and then you translate it into English.
ಸೊ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸಂಗೀತಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವೇನು ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ವಿ ಡೋಂಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಕಮ್ ಬೇರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ ಗೋ ಬೇರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಟೇಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವೋ ನಮ್ಮ ದೇವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ನೀವೇನು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅದು ದ ಮ್ಯಾಜಿಕಲ್ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಟ್ ಆರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ನಾವೇನು ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವೋ ಅದಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗೋದು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ದ ಗುಡ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ಅಫ್ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗಿದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ವಿ ಡೂ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಗುಡ್. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲನೂ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ನೆಗ್ಲಿಜಿಬಲ್. ಸೊ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮ್ಯೂಸಿಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಗಾಡ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ಸಿ ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್.
Thank you.
So, there's a small, if question is not coming from that side, I have a question. You might be thinking that I talked about my music family, she talked about her music family. There might be a question that's running in your mind, thinking that only music families produce musicians. Is that right? There is a musician here, Sri Guruprasanna, one of the top most Kanjira Vidwans of our country, who didn't have any music in his family. And it is still possible to be a top grade of whatever you do if you have the passion and interest inside yourself. There are also examples where children from music family did not take up music. So, music is not something that belongs to musicians' family. It belongs to everyone, provided that you connect to it in the way that you're looking for it.
It's the same analogy for technologists. Like technology oriented person in the family their offsprings might not take up technology, or somebody in the Esther years, in your ancestors, they might not have studied technology, but you guys are studying technology. That means it is not hereditary. I mean, it's up to the passion, it's up to what we like, and how do we take those likings and pursue that in our lives. So it's same thing is applicable to music as well.
Wonderfully said. What we plan to do today is to speak a little bit about the melody aspects of music, speak a little bit about the rhythm aspects of music, speak a little about how everything comes together, and then along the way we will present. Yes, we will hopefully get all of you to participate in this process and sing along with us and perform some rhythm along with us as well. So that's the idea for the event.
How many of you sing or hum film music yourselves? When you hear to some music, you all, right? Please raise your hands. See, there's a lot of hands which are raised for film music. Do you like to sing along with us for Indian classical music, Carnatic music? Yes, we will do that. And as all performers we want a response from the audience, and that is what inspires us. Please speak up, please get involved.
Okay, so all forms of music and Indian music and Carnatic music is no different. They are all based on notes, right, or swaras as we call them in Indian music. Right. And what are notes? Physically, notes are just simply the oscillations of the sound wave. Right. Lower frequencies are simply lower bass notes, right? So these are slow vibrations. And higher frequencies are higher notes. Right? And as musicians, and anybody, right, even non-musicians, we are always searching for notes that sound nice together, always, right? We take two different notes, do they sound nice together, right? And I'll play two notes to you, and these are what perhaps the most harmonious notes that sound together. So could you tell that there were two notes that I played, and I played them together as well. And it turns out this is called the octave note, right? So which is essentially, if I take any frequency, and this is the magic, right? If I take any frequency of sound and I play that frequency and I play double of that frequency, that's what you'll hear, right? Exactly what you'll hear, right? And there are other frequencies that sound nice as well, right? Right? Could you hear two sounds over there? And again, this is if you take any frequency and you take 1.5 times that frequency, those were the notes that I played together. And similarly, a note and 4/3 of that frequency were played together right now. So this is the amazing beauty of nature, physics, and music, that these are all, it's not by accident, these are all nice ratios. Right? It's not, there's nothing ugly about it. I took a ratio, I took a frequency, I doubled it, I got something nice. I took a frequency, I did 1.5 times it, that sound nice too. And similarly 4/3. And generally, nice frequencies, nice ratios tend to be nice sounding as well. And this is true across various forms of music. Now, I could take the octave that I have with me and divide it into various notes. How many notes? Right? That's entirely up to us. Right? But we really want to kind of strike a balance, right, between cluttering the palette that we have. Notes are like alphabets, or they're like colors that you see, right? So if I tell you here are 2,000 colors that you use, like, okay, that's too many, I can't use these many, right? But at the same time, if I tell you here are only 2 colors, use only them, when you feel maybe restricted. So you want to strike a balance between having something to work with, and so it's not too cluttery, and you can also tell apart the colors, right? Tell apart the notes quite easily, right? And you would have heard the notion of 12 notes. There is no hard and fast rule to having only 12 notes within an octave. There are forms of music that have more as well. But we do have 12 notes, and the notes sound as like this, right? I'll play all of the 12 notes to you and show. With the last 13th note being the octave note again. Western music gives names to absolute frequencies. So if I take a frequency, say 16.32 hertz, or its double frequencies and so on, I would give the name C to it. And so absolute frequencies are given names A, B, C, D, E, F, and so on. In Indian music, we do things a little bit differently. We fix a bass note or a tonic note, and we give a lot of importance to the ratios, right? And so we get the notes sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, and some variations of those, and they are all in relationship with the bass note. So if I just played a note in standalone and asked you what note is that, it could be any note, right? It all depends on the shadjam, right, or the bass note that we work with, right? Now, the frequency that is 1.5 times the bass frequency is called the panchamam or pa, and that's also very, very important in Indian music as well. Before we move on, maybe let's join in and play something short. Yeah. That was Manaviyala Kinchara in the Ragam Nalinakanti, set to Aditalam by another great composer, Sadhguru Tyagaraja. So we were talking about notes and the 12 different notes that were there. Right? Now, I played the 12 different notes, and if I used all 12 notes in one composition or one melody that I was going to present to you, that may sound a bit chaotic. In fact, when I played the scale itself, it might have sounded a bit jarring. Look, there are so many notes over there. It's like taking a canvas and using all the colors together on that, right? Generally, we don't do that. We take maybe a subset of the colors and portray a mood, right? And that's exactly what we do in music as well, all forms of music. We take a collection of notes, and perhaps the most popular and the most recognizable collection of notes is what is known as the major scale in Western classical music. Let me just play you. It's a collection of 7 notes. That's the major scale, and almost every popular nursery rhyme or simple songs or popular music that you might have heard, by and large falls in the major scale. Again, written in the major scale. If some of you are familiar with Western classical music, then the great composition by Beethoven, Ode to Joy. Also in the major scale. In Carnatic music, or in Indian music in general, we will generally speak about Carnatic music today, but a lot of what we say is common across in both Hindustani as well as Carnatic forms of music. There are a lot of similar aspects. In Carnatic music, we often don't play plain notes. That's not to say we don't. There's a lot of beauty in plain notes as well, and we show that also. But we very often connect notes. We don't let them stand in isolation. And the connections can be of various forms. I can just oscillate a particular note, or I could slide between two surrounding notes and only suggest the note that I'm playing. So these are the ways where we try and connect different notes, and there's beauty in connecting notes. And so if I take the same major scale and I connect notes, here is how it would sound. And this gives rise to Ragam Shankarabharanam in the Carnatic tradition, or Bilaval in the Hindustani tradition. And gamakas are not set as this is the gamaka for this particular note. Within a ragam, there might be multiple ways to connect various notes, multiple gamakas. And the same note across ragas may have completely different types of gamakas. So the connections are really dependent on the ragam that we are working with. And I told you that this scale has 7 notes and we connected them and formed Ragam Shankarabharanam. But again, there is no hard and fast rule that we should only work with 7. A very popular pentatonic scale found a lot in Oriental music as well. With gamakas. Ragam Mohanam or Bhoop in the Hindustani tradition. Sa re ga pa da sa sa da pa ga re sa. So we eliminated the Madhyamam and the Nishadam from this ragam, only worked with sa re ga pa da, right? And so it is the subset of notes that we are working with and how they are connected and so on. And a lot of you are computer science students, and languages are the in thing today, right? Languages and language models and so on. This is exactly like that, right? There is a grammar associated with every ragam, right? There is a grammar that tells us what is allowed and what is not allowed. It's like speaking a language. There are rules that are to be followed, right? And in the ragam Mohanam, if I played the Madhyamam, that is violation of that rule or the grammar. And the grammar is really what all musicians learn in Carnatic music. After that, we can speak to anybody who knows the common language, because we know what is the grammar, and so easy for us to communicate with them. I'll play another ragam called Bilahari, and we will all try and sing a simple 2 lines from a song in ragam Bilahari. And Bilahari ragam is a very, very interesting ragam. It's got a different set of notes while ascending the octave and a different set of notes while descending the octave. So the scale or the ragam sounds like this. Played without gamakas. So it's like a mix of the 2 ragams presented earlier, Shankarabharanam and Mohanam. Mohanam in the ascending and Shankarabharanam in the descending. And so what makes it so interesting is that now the grammar tells us that if I'm traversing the octave in the ascending order, even though the notes Madhyamam and the Nishadam are present, I cannot show them while ascending the octave. So I could play and that's Bilahari. But if I ended up playing, that's incorrect, because while traversing the octave, while going up, I should not have played the Madhyamam. And so these rules of the grammar are what make Indian music so exciting. And the amazing part of it is that it's not that these rules are written, and that's where maybe technology can help solve some of those challenges. These rules are, it's an oral tradition. And so while we do write some notation, not everything can be written, because there are so many variations in a particular ragam and so on, that we all listen to music and we know, we have a sense of, okay, this is allowed in this grammar and this is not allowed, right? It's just that once you learn to speak English well, if someone says something wrong, you immediately know. It's not like you immediately know, right? That's exactly how it is for us as well. So let's try and I will sing first, and we'll all play along with them, shall we? It's what is known as a Swarajati, right? Which is when you begin to learn a little bit, a few months into learning, people generally teach these kinds of songs, simple songs, in the ragam Bilahari. I'll sing bit by bit, and maybe you can repeat after me. Ra Gopala Rajita Saguna Jayashila Sarasaksha Niramedi Marubari Korvalera Raravenu Gopala Rajita Sadguna Jayashila. So we spoke about how melody has its own language. There is alphabets. The swaras are the alphabets, and then we have this grammar, and we are able to converse with each other because of this. Rhythm aspects are much the same. They have their own language, their own alphabets, their own colors, their own patterns, and again, percussion artists can converse with each other through this beautiful medium. Manjana, why don't you tell us a little bit about what are some of the sounds that are there? What are some of these alphabets, and how do we talk to each other if we are percussionists?
Ta,
Ta,
kitataka,
kitataka,
takadimi,
takadhimi,
ta kita,
dhi kita,
tum kita,
nam kita,
taditum nam,
nam tom ditta,
nam tom ditta,
ditta tom nam,
kitatakatim,
tari kita tom,
kradakadakadum,
tari kita tom,
taditakadum,
dinna kita tom,
kradakadakadum,
kadakadakadum,
takati, takajun,
takadhimi takajanu,
tajum, tatakajun,
tajum tatakajanu,
takati, takajun,
takadhimi takajanu,
takati, takajun,
takadhimi takajanu,
dimta,
janu janu ta, om,
takadimi,
dinataka,
takadimi,
takadhimi,
takajono,
janu taka,
dama, demi takadum, takadum, dum. And we lived happy ever after. Well, I mean, it's not something that's it's written rule, but we have to find expression and emotion in whatever we do. This is for me, rhythms are something which has less rules. That makes it more complicated, because it's going to a supermarket, and then you see so many things, and then you end up buying mostly that you don't want to buy, right? Let's say you go into a market, Spar, right? Most of the things in your wheel cart, those will be the things that you don't want to buy actually when you go inside. But when you go to a grocery store, you know exactly what you want, and there is a person who's going to give it to you. So you say, I want some 5 kilos of rice. But when you go to Spar, let us say you want 5 kilos of rice, but you see that for 15 kilos, the price is less compared to 5 kilos. So you end up buying 15 kilos and 10 kilos, actually it goes waste because you don't need it for that month, right? It's something like that in rhythm. So it's it's a fine line between what you need and what you don't need, right? So all these languages that we were talking about is called as Konnakol. It's a rhythmic language where basically the Konnakol, this language emerges out of this drum, which is called as Mridangam, right? So every syllable that we play has a place on this drum. For example, if I say ta and thi, tum, do you feel that? Nam. Ta, thi, tum, nam. Do you hear that? You hear what I say? Or it feels something else? Ta, thi, tum, nam. Right? If you want to play the same thing on Kanjira, let us see how it sounds. Or maybe Morsing?
Will you try?
Yeah, let's try on the Morsing now. Ta.
Actually, in Morsing, see, on drum you have different places. But in Morsing, there is only one place. This is the tongue. So, I should work with my tongue here.
So how does it work? Like, are you like varying the gaps in your mouth, or are you flickering your tongue, or
Exactly.
what happens with actually being a Mridangam artist? I've been looking at Morsing for all 47 years of my life, but I still don't know how it works. So it will be the first time with you guys that I'm going to hear from the master or mastri. If I can, I don't know, it's very difficult these days to put any gender to anyone. So I would go with Bhagya, okay? Can you show us, please?
It is nothing but the konakol or the vocal percussion. I am reciting in my mouth, keeping my tongue at different places to tell tha, dhi, tom, nam. So if you observe yourself while reciting those syllables, you can observe like your tongue is at different places. Tha, dhi.
Why don't you recite with her? Can you teach?
Yeah,
please?
definitely.
Yeah.
Can you all please tell tha,
Tha,
dhi,
dhi,
tom,
tom,
nam.
nam. Tha, thi, tom, nam.
Ta,
Tha,
thi,
thi, tom, nam. Tha, thi, tom, nam.
ta, thi, tom, nam. Ta, thi, tom, nam. Ta, thi, tom, nam. Ta, thi, tom, nam. Tom. What was that?
That is only with the what? With only my breath.
Without the
not
stroking.
Yeah, I'm not plucking the instrument.
Ah, okay. Guru, please, what is that you have on your hand?
This is called the wonder instrument.
This is not.
That is wonderful instrument. This is not full. This is only single-handed. So it's single phase. So that full is not there. This is what you develop manodharma when you get into Indian music. So this is a single-phased instrument called Kanjira, and very widely used in Indian folk as well as classical forms. And this kind and shape of instrument is there worldwide, and it's been there for many generations, I would say. So if you look at it, when Manju did Taditonam, the basic syllables will remain the Taditonam as the language, Konnakol. There are different parts in the full barrel drum, which is the Mridangam, where we see all the different parts, and as much like Bhagyaji told, there is this exact spaces, exact places where you can play that syllable. But in Kanjira, there are two major tones. One is a mute tone and one is an open tone. And with that, we'll have to mimic or get the exact sounds that is produced in Mridangam. Relatable sounds. So ta sounds like the full closed sound. Dhi this is tone, this is the open tone, and nam is a variant of ta, but it is more subtle. Can you tell? Ta,
Ta. Dhi. Tom. Nam.
ta,
Ta.
di, om, nam.
Ta, Dhi, Tom, Nam.
Ta, di, om, nam.
Ta, Dhi, Tom, Nam. Hey Guru, I don't hear the ah. Where is it coming from?
That is
He's
the
playing ta, ti, tum, nam. And he's saying ta, di. Where is that curve coming?
that curve is for the pause. You will explain that.
There is no curve, but he's saying the curve. That's to put the smile on your face, the smiley curve.
Yeah, it's a U. It's not the N curve.
Okay, let's learn two syllables, which is called as kitta. Can you say? It is not kitta. Huh? How many of you have influence with Sanskrit or Devanagari script or Dravidian languages? How many of you don't have it? How many of you don't know any of these languages? Okay, so do you know there is this strange way of rolling your tongue upwards, which is called as ta. Try it. With together, you are an ensemble now. You have to be together. When I do that, you just say ta. Okay? I don't hear you well.
Ta.
That's it.
Ta.
With 4 people, we are making much more noise than you people. Okay? You can do better. Come on.
Ta. Ta.
Some people are reacting a little bit late. Wake up, please. We are trying to. Yeah, let's try. Yeah. Yeah. Just like you're doing kung fu. Yeah. Yes. Hoo! Like that. Okay? Let's try ki ta.
Ta. Ki. Ta. Ki. Ta. Ki. Ta. Ki. Ta. Ki. Ta.
Okay. Now we'll do one thing. I will say ta and you say kita. I'll say di, you say kita. I say to, you say kita. I say nam, you say kita. You are only saying kita, but wait for me to say all the magic 4 syllables that we tried. Okay? So I say ta,
Kita.
di,
Kita.
tom,
Kita.
nam,
Kita.
ta.
Kita.
Try to emulate my expression. Okay? Let's try. Ta,
Kita.
di,
Kita.
tom,
Kita.
nam,
Kita.
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 ta,
Kita.
di,
Kita.
to,
Kita.
the train did not arrive on the platform. Okay, so we tried this. I'm going to say a few syllables and see how it sounds on all these instruments. right? Okay, is there something, okay, let's try something that's common for three instruments, and let's try something that's unique for these instruments. How about that? Do you guys like that? Okay, let's see, if you heard Tadi Tumnam, how do you play guitar?
Again, this instrument, there is a lot of things which
All
is...
excuses, don't believe him.
No. This instrument, it's all context specific. So because there is only so much to do on this, right? So Kitta is played in two variations depending on what is the context. By the way, I'm putting water to this to have its own shruti.
It is very thirsty.
And
Oh.
Hey, it sounded like the first four syllables that you played.
exactly same. It's all context specific.
Well, I mean, like, that's the whole idea about this music. I mean, like, jokes apart, the pressure. Have you guys heard something called as dynamics? What is dynamics? In music context, dynamics is something that if you blandly translate that to English, it is like the different variations of loudness or softness, right? So depending on the pressure, that's the context that I think you're talking about, right?
That is one context. Another context is what comes before and what comes after.
Okay.
It makes a huge difference in playing this instrument.
Okay. Can you show us ta, kitta, thi, kitta, tum, kitta, nam? Though you're playing the same kind of fingering techniques.
Yeah. So the same thing in a different way. This is the second one is more of a Mridangam kind of a technique, and the first one is more natural to the instrument.
If you have observed, it's one of the most difficult instruments to play because you have only one hand to play, the other hand is holding the instrument. Compared to what we have with Mridangam, you know, you have both hands free to do whatever it wants, but Guru or the Kanjira artist should produce the same kind of effect or same number of notes, I would say. Effect is the next version, but to just produce the same number of notes with one hand takes a lot of sadhana. Sadhana is a word, I don't know the equivalent in English. I'm so sorry for this language, though we are conversing in it now. There are so many things like ananda or sadhana. We don't have words for it. If you can translate that or understand what sadhana means, that's what this instrument needs. So, can we hear that in Morsing? I don't know. I'm sure it sounds. Come on, please.
What was that? Oh, thank God.
Dhi kita. Tum kita.
Ta. Nam kita.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see how it sounds on Mridangam.
Kitta, Dhi, Kitta, Dom, Kitta, Nam, Kitta.
Let's try playing one after another.
Yeah.
Same thing, okay?
Takita and Takita or Takita, Dikita.
Takita, Dikita. Sorry, we're rehearsing here, okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Together? beautiful. Why I am trying to say this is because, does it sound like a horse ride to you? You can think of, like, you see, music is all about, here, it's not something that we are playing bunch of notes or rhythms. It's about trying to tell a story, right? So what we are trying to tell, we are imagining something when we are playing. And then I hope you can listen to what we are trying to say as a story. It doesn't matter that you hear the same story. If you can make up your own story while we play music, is more important for us. So just a little bit of something called as groove that we have. We will show you how it sounds individually, and then we will show you how magical it is when three of us play together. Okay? So, shall we try Taka Dibbi Taka Junnu? Yeah?
Yeah.
So this is how it should sound. Taka Dibbi Taka Junnu, Taka Dibbi Taka Junnu, Taka Dibbi Taka Junnu, Taka Dibbi Taka Junnu. Wow, it's reverberating. So, was it fun to hear this? Yeah? So this is what we are normally trying to, because it's all a guessing game, right? It's kind of like, it's predictable, it's not predictable. That's the fine line that we are supposed to stay on. It's like, you know what? Today I wanted to sleep. The last sleep is mystery. You don't know, you could have told like, today I wanted to go somewhere or eat something or sleep, you know. That last word is always changed between all of us. Like, what happens afterwards is like everyone's like guessing, okay. Oh, okay. Like, you know. But if you play wrong, like for example, Mridangam artist is sometimes calling the shots, right? Sometimes they trick. But these two people are very intelligent. They don't get tricked.
Manju, is it only sometimes?
Okay, so just before doing anything, I would like to just ask Guru, is there something unique about this instrument? Some phrases that is particular about this instrument?
There are something very unique about this instrument where takkitatum is a very important phrase or a word, I would say, which gets used in multiple contexts. Again, I keep coming back to that context specific thing. Takkitatum or kitatum is used in multiple phrases and it really sounds really beautiful in this instrument. For example, it could be just the kitatum. Like we have some practice lessons to kind of perfect this, like kitatum, just to get back, and I mean, as you practice more, you get more perfection in that. Like takkitatum, takkitatum, and then add syllables to it, like taddit takkitatum, dittadit takkitatum. So, and takkitatakadhum kitatum. So, it's all...
It sounds like Telugu person saying his name with the surname, right? You know that joke, right? My name is Venkata. Venkata Sai Balu Krishna. You know, have you seen that joke? Sounds like that.
And of course, and it sounds beautiful. Why it sounds so beautiful? Because there is a mix of sharp and bass tones which comes in this word. Then
Super.
we can play on the takkidadam part.
Ta ti ta kita tum ta kita tum ta ta kita tum ta ti ta kita tum ta kita tum ta ta kita tum ta ti ta kita tum ta kita tum ta ta kita tum ta ti ta kita tum ta kita tum ta ta kita tum ta ti ta kita tum ta kita tum ta ta kita tum ta ti ta kita tum ta kita tum ta ta kita tum ta ti ta kita tum ta kita tum ta kita tum ta ta kita tum. Whoa. After some time, it's like the ceiling fan. You can watch those wings go for some time, and afterwards it just merges, and you can't see how it is turning. It's the same way. I think it's your fingers.
Takkidadam.
Bhagya, something unique about that other instruments you can't hear with your whatever you do, like other instruments can't do that or something like that.
One thing which I just wanted to add is there are some phrases which sounds beautiful on some instruments, but it's not that it cannot be done on other instruments. Its instrument doesn't definitely have any limitations. An artist like Manju can play takkidadam, tattakkidadam or taddi takkidadam with the same felicity as a Kanjira artist. So it depends on how individual adapts to each of the phrasing, and finally it boils down to what their liking is. So just wanted to add that bit, because not that it is unique, it sounds really great on Kanjira. Likewise, there are some things which sounds really great on Morsing.
Actually, see, they forgot to tell, Mridangam is called as the king of the instrument.
This one.
Yes, Mridangam.
Because it has many frequencies, you see. The advantage of this instrument is it has a lot of frequencies. Sounds on this, combination of it makes it more. That's why I think it's relatively, I won't say easier, relatively you can learn this instrument quicker to understand the sounds. But these two instruments are more subtle. It's very difficult to understand the subtlety. I think a lot of maturity is needed to play these instruments compared to, I won't say less maturity is needed to play this. This comes with different responsibilities, but the subtlety is more in these two instruments, I would say. Yeah.
So, I told, this is the king of the instrument. See, in our Carnatic classical music, a concert can go only with Mridangam. It is necessity. But a Kanjira or a Ghatam or a Morsing, it's only an optional. So the concert can get along without these instruments. These are called as additional percussion instruments. But Mridangam is called as the main percussion instrument. So see what he plays in both the hands is played on Kanjira on one single hand. Of course, using all those 5 fingers. When it comes
3 fingers.
Okay. Of course, maybe the others are supporting, right?
Optionals.
Okay, again when it comes to Ghatam is a mud pot and they play with all their 10 fingers. But when it comes to Morsing, there is only one finger to pluck and one tongue to speak. So very, very, there are so many limitations in Morsing. So what best can be done is, you should recite in your mouth in such a way that is, so that it is heard very similar to it. So you have to work on it very much, because see, if I say takadimi takajunu, it is heard like this. Dhin, tagadina dhin, tagadina dhin, dhin, tagadina dhin, tagadina dhin. Tadintan, takadintan, 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 takadintan. But of course, I can make different sound variations like this. This is called as kirra. This is done mostly in Thavil. Is it done in?
No, not possible.
No instrument can get that effect.
My tongue is just vibrating. Drrr, drrr.
The closest is this.
Yeah. So we'd like to present something short to you. So normally when you go to a Carnatic music concert, there are wonderful composers, Carnatic music composers who have composed songs in various ragas for us. Sri Muthuswami Dikshidhar, Sri Sadguru Tyagaraja, Sri Purandaradasar, as Bhagya mentioned, Sri Shama Shastri and so on. And usually what we do is we take a song, and then these songs are maybe 5-7 minutes, and then there may be about 10 such compositions in a full concert, and we take one or two of them and we improvise around them. There are different types of improvisations that we do. There is a melodic improvisation where we'll take the raga and it's a free-flowing exploration. What are the different patterns that one can have in that? And then you play the song, and then there is both a rhythmic and a melodic improvisation. And then finally there's a rhythmic improvisation alone. Today we thought we'll present a special type of a short composition called Ragam Tanam Pallavi, which is present in the Carnatic music style. We tend to first do a melodic improvisation called the Ragam. Then there is a Tanam, which is a melodic improvisation with a little bit of an informal beat. It's not really a thala, but it's an informal beat to it. You'll hear it when it is played. And then we will play a short pallavi, which is just like one line of some kind of mathematical pattern. And we'll try and show that pattern to you, and you could sing that also back with us. So the pallavi that we are going to present is in the ragam Samendra Madhimam, and the scale is as follows. So the Pallavi that we are going to present is in the Aditalam, or the 8-beat cycle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it will have 2 beats. Each of the beats we'll put twice, so it will give rise to 16 in total. And what we'll try and do is to pick a Pallavi a Pallavi has a pattern, I told you, and the pattern that we are going to show will, I'll sing the Pallavi and then maybe we can take it from there. The words of the Pallavi are Shanmugane, Murugane, Vadivelane. Okay? Sharavana Bhava. Okay. Shanmugane, Murugane, Vadivelane. Shanmugane, Murugane, Vadivelane. Sharavana Bhava, Shanmugane, Murugane, Vadivelane. Sharavana Bhava. So if you see the pattern, 5, 4, what do we want to say? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. Shara, Vana, Bhava, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. Shara, Vana, Bhava, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. So that is being set with lyrics and the tune as well. So it's a mathematical pattern.
Shall we try it once? So it's 5, 4,
3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1,
2,
3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1,
3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Two, 3, 4. Again. Awesome.
3,
One last time.
4.
know we are maybe running a little bit late, but before we conclude, maybe we take some questions, if any, from all of you. If there's anything that you wanted to know about Carnatic music or any of our instruments or a Carnatic music concert, if we know, we'd be happy to share with you. I know there's a mic somewhere around here, so don't be shy. I mean, it's just,
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
As ma'am has rightly pointed out, that the Mridangam is the king of accompanying instruments also. I just wanted to know, during the Tanyavartanam, is it that always only the Mridangist, whatever he leads, the others shall follow, or is there an option for others also to take over sometimes? Thank you.
Shabash.
Hello. We didn't expect this googly, but we will try to answer that. Well, there has been a tradition that this instrument is always taking the lead. If you have observed, even like when the song has started, it's Mridangam that starts first, and Mridangam is the one which decides how to end the song, how to end all the small endings and stuff like that. But of course, we were trying to go conventional way. There are many occasions where, especially I and Guru, when we play in special projects where we want to make it normal, not special anymore, because it has to be, that's first of all, that's the reason that we are sitting like this. You know, this is the first thing that we want to break the barrier, right? Because normally what happens is, if we were sitting in a conventional way, I would say Nishanth ji would be sitting here and I would be sitting there, and then Guru would be sitting here and Bhagya would be sitting there. So we didn't want that way of looking at the artist be there. So, and this one, what you just saw, is a very conventional way of leading a Taniyavartanam. But we are trying to break the barriers here. So certainly, I hope in future, it's not something that Mridangam artists would decide all the time. I would really hope that it will be like some songs will be led by Morsing or Ghata or Kanjira and Mridangam.
I think there's a great opportunity for creativity also over here. I mean, even it's the same even with vocal music and a violin accompaniment and so on. When we try these kinds of things, maybe with Kanjira leading or Morsing leading, maybe we'll get more ideas, and that's a great thing to try out.
It's easy for them to lead, but what role they are playing, it's very difficult for Mridangam to play, because we are not used to play the second fiddle.
Which is generally true even with a typical Carnatic music concert where the vocalist is playing,
it's truly
singing,
a second fiddle.
and the violin is accompanying. What Manjunath is saying is that you're reacting to something when you're on. Both jobs are hard, but what Manjunath is saying is that in the case of a violin, when they're accompanying a singer or some other instrument, or in the case of a Kanjira or Morsing accompanying along with a Mridangam, you're reacting, and so there's a whole element of unknown over there. The other side of it is that you're driving it, so there's more responsibility in terms of creativity and so on, and if you don't drive it well, then everything could break loose. But the other job is that everything is, you don't know what's going to happen, and it's a big surprise, and then you have to react on the spot and do it correctly. So
it's not an answer, but just our observations about it. So
one of the other observation I'd just like to add to my colleagues is, if you have seen, by nature, the Kanjira when the pitch keeps going up, so we need to water it. As Manju said, it's really thirsty, right? So if you look at the Mridangam, when it is tuned, you can play for long avartanas or the cycles, right? So it is designed for that kind of playing for a longer role kind of a thing. And even in Morsing or Ghatam, the sound of those things kind of becomes a little monotonous. So with the king of percussion being the Mridangam, there are a lot of variations with the sound you get, and that breaks the monotony. And when that gets joined with the other instruments, I mean, I wouldn't call it as add-on instruments or accompanying instruments, when it gets added on, the whole experience gets elevated. So probably that could be one of the reasons as we observed over the period of time.
Do the students have any
Other
questions amongst the students? Yeah. What's Fibonacci Talam?
I think we should come back one more time to do that. It's an infinite number series, so it will not stop if I start today. But anyway, just to give a bird's eye view of what it is. You all know what's Fibonacci number. So I was trying to play around, fool around with it. So you see that Adi Tala, whatever Tala we played was 8. So I was just making the accents of 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 1, 2, 3, keeps on going. So I stopped at 21 and came back to 1 again. So it is actually inspired by Fibonacci, but if you say if it's a Fibonacci Tala, I should have started, then still be going now, because it's a finite series.
That can be done only through programming.
I think there's a girl over here, a little girl who has a question. Yes. Come get a mic to her. Just 1 second, we'll get the mic to you and then you can ask your question.
The way you play the Morsing is so interesting. How do you play it?
I place the instrument between my teeth. These are called as the frame this is the frame. Can you see? The outer portion is the frame and the middle one is called as the tongue of the instrument. So I place the frame against my teeth and leave a gap in between so that the tongue of the instrument is free to move. See, if I just pluck the instrument, can you hear the vibration? So my mouth acts as a sound chamber. So if I place this between my teeth, and with open mouth, if I produce the sound, it is heard like this. So closed mouth is. That's how sound is produced. And so telling the jatis of what Mridangam and Kanjira plays, I'm reciting the jatis. So if I recite the jatis only, it is heard like that. Otherwise, it is only this. This is only the sound, plucking. That's it.
I think there was another question here. Yes. Get the mic.
I had a question. Yeah. Thanks a lot. It was an amazing concert.
Okay. Yes.
My question was, some of you are also technologists, so what are any tips you could share? How do you balance both your professional and musical careers? Thank you.
I think it's a great question. I think I've been asked this a lot. I think when you start doing something and you make it part of your routine, it can be exercising, or it can be anything that you want, anything that you really like. When you start doing it and it becomes a part of who you are, then one doesn't really have to make time for it, because it's something that you do, you wake up and you do it every day, right? It's not that you say, oh, I have to make time to do this. I mean, in my case, there's a lot of aspects associated with managing like 2 careers. The flexibility of the first career, I'm lucky enough to be in a research career that allows me a fair amount of flexibility about when I do my work, when I think about problems and so on and so forth. It could be while I'm traveling for a concert, or it could be anything all the way over there. But that flexibility is important. I don't know if I were a medical doctor, I don't have that flexibility to say that today I will not show up and I'll work at home or those kinds of things, right? So I think certainly the career has one aspect to it. It does aid doing other things as well. But if those things fall into place, then it's about making it part of your system, where you say that I will do it. I don't have to think about it. Today, if it's evening and I haven't sat down and practiced yet, I feel I've not done something for the day, right? And when it becomes part of you, that's what happens. It's not like, and it can be even like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It's okay. It doesn't matter, right? As long as it's part of your system. And then, of course, that's not enough. You need more time for it, but it's still part of your system every day. Guru, what are your thoughts on things like this?
Absolutely, Nishanth, very well told on this part. How I feel is, we all are tuned to be multitasking, right? So from childhood, we are tuned to do multitasking. As child, we keep eating and listening to music or watching TV. Or reading something, right? So this is part and parcel of our life, and we don't even know as we learn. We keep doing multiple things at a time, while jogging, listening to music, or while driving, talking to people, right? So these are all normal activities. We feel like it is extremely normal. When you get into some of these things, right? So how I look at is both the professions. Try to map. We kind of, I'm sure Nishanth would be able to correlate to it, or any student of music, right? So we start mapping music to probably technology, and technology to music. We start remembering things, or we start correlating things with music aspect. Like, for example, okay, these are like 5 parameters associated with one concept. We probably associate it with a pentatonic scale, or khanda gati in rhythm, right? So we start kind of correlating each other and make sure that it doesn't get jumbled up. But over a period of time, it becomes way of life, and that is how I think it's been for us. And
I'll add one point, and I've been asked this question quite a bit. And the question is, do you feel guilty that you're not working when you're practicing, and vice versa? Like when you're doing work, and you're like, oh, you're not spend time on your violin and so on. I think as long as you devote good amount of time to both, it's definitely possible to do. The other thing I would say is that, and especially for the youngsters, I think one can learn a lot from one profession into the other as well, right? I think the ability, for example, to sit down for a long period of time and focus on something, I learned only because of music, right? At school, I was doing it, yes, we read and so on and so forth. And today's age, I think that's even more critical, right? Because when I was growing up, there were no distractions like how it is today. But today, I find that one could get distracted quite easily with devices and so on. I think something like this just gives you the ability to just sit for an hour, not do other things, not think about other things. And that's an incredibly useful skill that can translate to your other life as well. So I don't think we should view it as, oh, we're wasting time doing this or not doing this and so on. They can really go together and enhance both your careers or lives.
Yeah, and just imagine the human database you have in your brain, how much it can grow. Terabytes, petabytes of data can be stored. Just the amount of compositions, the permutations, combinations, never-ending manodharmas. I don't think there is anything in this technological world that can hold that much of data that a brain can have. So you keep extending your brain by doing all these things. I hope it answers.
One more thing I would like to add, multitasking, when Dr. Nishanth Chandran said, we as women, while cooking, I keep listening to music. I think, of course, you should do it multitasking. It should not that only cooking or only sit and practice. So when I do that, the food is more delicious and more tasty. I've got that feedback as well.
Maybe one more question and the rest we'd be happy to. Okay, there are more questions, yes. Whoever gets the mic, maybe.
The guitar syllables, both the syllables, have two variations in Kanjira. I observed that both of them are the reverse of each other. So, is the syllables in Mridangam actually jumbled up in Kanjira when it is played?
Actually not. So that's immaterial of the question. Question is important.
That's Guru's daughter.
So the second guitar which I played, I demonstrated, was basically derived out of the Mridangam fingering technique. That technique in Kanjira instrument has limitations on how many variations you can play and what phrases you can play, kind of a thing. So a subtle variation in the fingering technique brought the first guitar technique, which actually enables as an artist to go that much further. So that is why the first guitar is the more adopted guitar in the recent world of evolution of Kanjira playing technique.
Maybe one more question.
Yeah,
Okay,
just,
Professor.
Prabhu here, SS Prabhu. I was wondering, the original concept of our classical music is somehow associated with the meditation, going inwards, inward looking, all those things, the whole gamut of things there. I have grown up in an era when music was kind of like that, when I was very young. I've heard Ragam, Tanam, Pallavi, where Ragam, Tanam occupied a major part of the performance. It was meditative, it was inward looking, it was slow. I wonder if these kritis, of course, they are composed by outstanding people. I mean, time has proved that, whether it is Tyagaraja, Shyama Sastri, or whatever, the Trinity and so on. And it's so rich. I'm wondering if rendering of this Kriti thing has overtaken the other aspect. So you see speed, you see virtuosity, incredible virtuosity like we saw today, and so on. But in this process, we are missing something central to this music. This is what I feel. Now, you people only talked about Carnatic music. Indian classical music is a much bigger thing. Carnatic music, as we know it today, came into picture only in the recent past, maybe 300, 400 years. You can go to Annamacharya, you can go to, Purandaradasa and so on. And if you go earlier to that, you have, of course, music, deep music, all over. But the northern region, it got affected by the Persian influence. Things happened there. So I don't know. Carnatic has gone in some other direction. So this one aspect. The other aspect is maybe a semi-technical question, but the name of the game. When you come to the Swarvistar, the open. This where tal is there. You have the rag aspect where tal is not there, even beats are not there, then you have the beats coming into picture, and ultimately Pallavi thing when the tal comes into picture. And the game there is to keep track. Because our culture is very rich in this. The prosody, if you go back to Sanskrit, there's all kinds of poetry and so on, very complex things and so on, mathematical and so on. And Carnatic seems to emphasize that part more than the other part. Am I on the right track in this analysis?
It's a great question. I mean, it even stems from the maybe even style of raga presentation. I think concerts over the years have also shortened in duration. It's a facet of how we live today, right? I mean, earlier concerts used to start late at night and go through the night, and today I'm sure if we organize some concert like that, maybe a handful of people might show up. It is a change in times, but what we try to do is we try to stick to various aspects as well within how we are living today, right? But you're absolutely right. Even when I practice, right, we are always trying to search for the meditative sound, and that sound has that thing, right? It's not even pure notes. We are always searching for the purity in those notes and so on. You're right that, I mean, the Carnatic tradition today has evolved. I mean, evolved is maybe the wrong word. It has changed over time, but that's just a function of how we live today. And I think it is a great testament that we still have all the compositions from Purandarasa's time and Annamacharya's time, and then of course the Sadguru Tyagaraja and Swami Dikshidhar. We have preserved all of them despite being predominantly oral, right? And we have preserved all that even through all of these changes. And I think that's an amazing feat of Carnatic music. I'm sorry, there was maybe one more, maybe another question.
Is it Tala-centric?
It is Tala-centric. I think people like to show that it is more, maybe there is an attractive feel to it to get people hooked as well. I mean, there is the virtuosity aspect, I think, is something that if I have, let's say I have 5 minutes to present you something, it's very hard to get you into the meditative feel and then present you something that's beautiful. And so, yes, maybe we do, I would love to maybe present something for 2 hours, take something long and do it, but we do try to do that. I think there are occasions where we say, let's try and present a Ragam Talam Pallavi for 1 hour, and then there is way more time to get into a more elaborate Raga Alapana and go and explore the Ragam in way more detail. But just, we try to package it, and then it's how it is today. Yeah. Yes. There's, I think, been a question. Yes, why don't you ask your question? I think he's had his hand up for a bit. And
I don't have any questions to ask.
Okay.
Just only 2 statements. Somebody was asking about how you are doing multitasking. All this multitasking would have come from your mother's womb. Dosa will be at the tawa, milk will be boiling, child will be crying, somebody will be calling the front bell door. She attends everything.
Yes,
we
absolutely.
have learned from mother's womb multitasking.
Absolutely.
Is it not?
Yes.
That is the way Indian housewives do. That is the way we have learned.
Absolutely.
Second thing, so many years I have been to so many concerts. I have seen what musicians can do to instruments. Now I understand what instruments can do to musicians. I am not sure whether the difference is felt by everybody. Musicians can play on the instruments. Today I am seeing instruments playing on the musicians. Thank you.
Thank you. I think maybe one last question. I think that gentleman over there has had his hand up for a while.
Yes, hello.
Yes, hello.
This might be a bit of a technical question, and I would probably say that my question is twofold. From what I have heard, Pandit Bhatkande's method of organizing Hindustani ragas into the 10 thoughts and then having some ragas that don't fit in was inspired by the 72 Melakartas of Carnatic music. And this might just be my poor researching skills, but I could find very little reliable information online about that, and I didn't really understand how they work. And of course, I would also like to ask about what exactly the structure of a Carnatic composition is, right? Because Carnatic, as I think Professor mentioned, is focused, at least right now, very heavily on short compositions, like kritis or thillanas or whatever it may be. So I don't really understand the structure of them, and
I heard only, I think there's a little bit of an audio issue, but I heard your question was about Melakarta Rakams and then shorter kritis, right? Maybe answer the structure of kriti. Let me answer the second question first. Even within that, right? So first of all, the compositions that we render, be it by Sadguru Tyagaraja or Sri Muthuswami Dikshidhar, those were not, they didn't sit down and let's say, okay, let me compose a song today, right? It was, they felt something, it was part of their existence, and through that they communicated by just expressing, right? And a lot of the compositions we play today, the structure of the composition typically has like a pallavi, which is somewhat maybe 2 lines, right? And then there's an anupallavi, which again has maybe 2 lines. Then there's a charnam, which may have about 4 lines, right? But even there, the composers have typically composed several charnams, right? Quite often today, and again that's a facet of how we are today, right, in terms of the time limit we have and so on. We don't play all the charnams. There are a lot of compositions that have 5, 6 charnams, and sometimes it's important for the meaning of the song to render those charnams. But it's unfortunate. We learn only one of those charnams, and the rest 4 or 5 are lost. But there are wonderful musicians who are taking it upon themselves to understand all of this and see that as well. I think that's important. The first question, Melakarta system. I think the Melakarta system is, in my opinion, I mean, I like the system. I mean, it's, if you wanted to put structure to all of the ragas, then you can take the 12 notes and say, there are 3 different rishabhams and 3 different gandharams and 2 madhyamams and 3 daivadams, 3 nishadams, with a little bit of overlap between rishabham, gandharam, daivadam, nishadam, right? And so I can start saying, I'll pick 1 rishabham, 1 gandharam, 1 madhyamam, daivadam, nishadam, and you end up with like the different permutation combinations. There are, if you want to go in order, there are certain things that you have to obey, and therefore you end up with like 72. I think it's, a lot of the ragams don't necessarily fall into that, right? There are ragams where I can tell you that if you tell me it's like the 2nd rishabham, and you actually play it, it actually doesn't sound that way. It's very, very unique to that. Or the 1st gandharam, it's actually quite different. So while it gives us a loose mechanism to say that it's easy for us to communicate, pick up for scale-based ragas and so on, it works okay. But there are many ragams which they are really based on what we have heard, and it's not, as I said, like, yes, 12 notes is a good approximation. It's not really that. There are certain nuances and certain gamakas. When you listen to it carefully, you're like, okay, this rishabham, I'm calling it read 2 for whatever reason, but it's actually, I can't play it flat in that, and if I play it, it's a little bit strange, and the oscillation is actually something else, totally different, right? So this becomes important. So the structure is good, but shouldn't just stick to only that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Maybe one last, and we'll call it a day, and we can happy to take things offline. And
Hi.
yes.
You spoke about how the Mridanga was designed to play for longer cycles. Have there been any innovations done recently, maybe on the Kanjira or any other percussion instrument, to to design it specifically to improve maybe its range or the duration that it can be played?
What was that? Have there been any innovations done on the Mridangam to improve its range or things like that?
Innovations done on other instruments to improve the range, kind of.
Other instruments.
Well, the function of, I mean, like, if it is other instrument, there is one more instrument which is also in Carnatic music, which has some kind of the same lead role, which is called as tawil or dolu. Maybe you have seen it in marriage concerts when there are 2 nadaswaram players with 2 drummers. So that's one percussion instrument which has also been there for many years. But I haven't seen any other drums which is like designed to the same range of Mridangam, I would say.
Yeah, that is the uniqueness about every instrument we have. So, I mean, if you look at any system, right, so in Indian classical system, be it North Indian or South Indian, all instruments are unique. And it is best not to tamper with it because it has its own qualities and sound and the timbre, and which adds a lot of color to when it comes together, right? So if I try to do innovation on Kanjira, let's say, and try to make it Mridangam, right? So it wouldn't remain a single-faced drum, right? So it will lose its primary quality of having a single-faced drum, right? So it has unique qualities, and that is where it's so special that our music has so much of uniqueness in it. So if you can put a drum head, for example. So you can have multiple drums having same kind of drum heads, synthetic drums, right? So it would sound almost similar. Of course, you can tune it, but in Indian culture, Indian system, there are a lot of instruments which are unique. I mean, if you read the Shastras, right? So there are something called string instruments, Sushira Vadyas or wind instruments, or Avanadha Vadyas, which are drums. There are about 64 types of drums which are unique in nature, right? So only few of them are left over at this point in time. So whatever innovation is done on that, it wouldn't be called as Kanjira or a Morsing or Ghatam, right? So it would become something else, and definitely not, it cannot definitely become Mridangam also.
Okay, we'll conclude with a very, very short Tillana composed by my beloved Guru A. Kanyakumari Garu. But before that, many thanks to IIIT-Bangalore and Professor Amit Prakash and the wonderful audience that you have been for coming and making this session really enjoyable for us.
That was a beautiful performance. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everyone who made this event possible. Firstly, my deepest gratitude to all the artists. I had a great time and I'm pretty sure the audience did as well. Second, to Thillaisthanam Foundation, thank you very much for your collaboration with us to bring this concert to life. A big thank you to the whole organizing committee and everyone who worked backstage, on stage, before the performance. Thank you very much to the audience who joined us for this amazing concert. Pretty sure all of us learned a lot. Also, I'd like to thank anyone who's directly or indirectly involved in making this concert a great success. As we conclude this chapter, let's carry with us these melodies, knowledge, and memories that we've made. Here's to more such enriching experiences in the future. Thank you and good evening.